We tried to make this interview as realistic as possible. For example, I played the examiner and I'm a real practicing immigration lawyer with hundreds of these interviews behind me. Vale, who played the candidate, is a real naturalization applicant and this was her first practice interview. And the tests that I administered her were the real test questions administered to a real client, and we obtained those questions from his file. I hope that this interview prepares you just a little bit more for your interview. Good luck. My name is Jose Pineda, and I've been a licensed attorney in Texas since 1996. And together with my very awesome team, I have been exclusively practicing U.S. immigration law for the past 23 years. Together, we have helped thousands upon thousands of immigrants achieve the American dream. When I started to edit this video, I decided to do something different and just add my commentary on certain issues throughout the video in this picture-in-picture format. If you like this format, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you. Hi, I am Officer Jose Pineda, and you are Lucia Schmidt. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
All right,
Hi.
awesome. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Now, before we get going, I'm going to have to take your fingerprints and a picture. And don't worry about it. That picture is not the one that's going to go into the certificate, okay? But just to confirm that it's you. Okay, so I'm going to use this camera over here. Let's go ahead and smile. Okay, good. And now I'm going to ask you to put your left index finger in 1 second because the computer is not working too well. Okay, now I got it. Okay, and now lift it up. I'm going to ask you to put your right index finger on top of the pad. Awesome, perfect. All right, let's get going. Now, before we start, I'm going to have to place you under oath. So please stand up and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, have a seat, please. All right. Why don't we start with the civic questions? Ready?
Yes.
When was the last time you studied?
Last night?
Okay, let's do it. First question. When was the Declaration of Independence adopted?
July 4th, 1776.
Name one of the two longest rivers in the United States.
Mississippi River.
What is the name of the Speaker of the House of Representatives now?
Pelosi.
Who lived in America before the Europeans arrived?
The Native Americans.
What do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution?
The civil rights.
The what?
Civil rights.
We elect a president for how many years?
4 years.
What is one thing that Benjamin Franklin is famous for?
I forgot that one.
In this situation, I would have preferred had she just taken a guess, and if she was wrong, then that would have been the equivalent of saying, I do not know the answer. So this essentially was a wasted opportunity, but that's okay. It's no big deal. What is the economic system in the United States?
Capitalism.
Okay, you got 6 rights out of 10, so we're good. She actually got 6 out of 8, and that's good enough. As you know, they're going to ask you a maximum of 10 questions, and as long as you get 6 right, you'll be fine. Okay, let's move on to the reading exam. 1 second, please. Read the first sentence for me, please.
Who was Abraham Lincoln?
Perfect. Now, could you please take that pen and on the X, write for me, Lincoln was president during the Civil War. Lincoln was president during the Civil War. Okay, you done?
Yep.
Okay, let me see it, please. Great, you passed. The officer can administer at most 3 sentences. And the first one that you get right, that's where the officer stops. All right, now we're gonna move on to the application itself and all of the answers that you gave us when you first filed for this application, okay? If anything has changed, don't worry about it. I'm going to update it here as we go. Okay, so what is your first name?
Lucia
Middle name?
Maria
Last name?
Schmidt.
Could you spell that for me, please?
Schmidt.
Thank you very much. And that is the name that appears in your permanent resident card.
Yes.
Okay. Have you used any other names?
Yes, Lucia Maria Winham Andrade.
Okay, and that is your maiden name?
Maiden name.
Okay, let's move on. Lucia, would you like to change your name now during the naturalization?
Yes.
To what?
I would like to be Lucy without middle name and my last name is Schmidt.
Perfect. Okay. This is going to be the last chance during the naturalization process to get your new name correctly spelled out, because once you take the oath, that's going to be your new legal name, whether it's spelled correctly or incorrectly. And if it's wrong, then too bad. You're going to have to go back to state court with a petition for a name change. And once you get that name changed, money, then you're going to have to go back to USCIS and get a new certificate of naturalization with the correct name. Again, more money. So pay attention, ensure that it's correctly spelled. And your social security number is 111223333?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And I show you a date of birth of January 25, 1977.
Yes.
And when was it that you became a permanent resident?
September 25, 2014.
Thank you, ma'am. And what country were you born?
Argentina.
And what is your country of citizenship or nationality at this moment?
Argentina.
Thank you, ma'am. And what is a daytime telephone number where we can reach you?
214-630-0080.
Thank you, ma'am. And what is your current address right now?
It's 1420 West Mockingbird Lane, apartment 215.
What city is that in?
Dallas, Texas, 75247.
And that is in Dallas County also?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And how long have you, well, since when did you start living there?
Well, we moved there 3 months ago, so I don't know if I need to update.
Did you send a change of update? Did you do it online?
No.
Okay, let's do it right now. Okay, so 1420 West Mockingbird Lane is your current address. Okay. So so the only thing that changes is the apartment number then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so all right.
It used to be 280.
Okay, got it. Okay. Don't worry about updating it online. I'm going to update it on the system and everything will be just fine. Famous last words with changes of address. And in a situation like this, where the applicant forgot or failed to update the address online before the interview, I suggest that as soon as the interview is over, as soon as she gets home, she goes onto the USCIS website and does a change of address online. And don't forget to tie in the receipt number for the application for naturalization to that change of address. Okay, let's move on. Are either of your parents U.S. citizens?
No.
We're going to skip the biographical information. And are you currently employed?
Yes.
Who is your employer?
The Pineda Law Firm.
Is that Mr. Pineda?
Yes.
Oh, I know him. Okay. And
For
how
good.
long have you been employed there?
I've been there for 6 years and a half.
Okay, can you give me a date, please?
Let's see, March 2014.
That's what I got here. Perfect. And what is your occupation at the Pineda Law Firm?
Paralegal.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And that's more than 5 years, so we do not need anything else. Okay. Since you filed the application, have you traveled outside of the United States?
Yes, I did one time.
One time. And when was it that you left the United States since you filed your application?
It was December 12th of 2019.
And when did you return to the United States from that last trip?
December the 30th, 2019.
So that was a total of how many days were you outside of the United States?
18 days.
That's what, yeah, I say that. And what country did you travel to?
Mexico.
Okay. In this case, the applicant only had one short trip after she filed the application for naturalization. But if you have more than one trip outside of the United States since filing, I suggest that just out of consideration for the officer's time, for you to bring a list of all of your trips and format it as the list that appears on the N-400. So, not counting this last trip that you told me about, is it still during the past 5 years you traveled 6 times outside of the United States?
Yes, sir.
And you went to Mexico?
Yes.
Okay, good. And total 55 days plus 18. Okay, we're good. And what is your current marital status?
Married.
And what is your spouse's name?
Alfred Schmidt.
Thank you. And I show that he was born on July 18th, 1976?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And that you married on November 1st, 2010?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Have you been married before?
No.
And where does Alfred live?
Here in Dallas.
What address?
1420 West Mockingbird Lane, number 215, Dallas, Texas 75247.
Thank you. And what is his current employment?
He's a finance manager at a bank.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Is he a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
By birth, I should show here. Perfect. Let's move on. Do you have any children?
No.
Anywhere in the world?
No.
We'll skip this. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you a series of questions. These are the yes or no questions, and they apply to you only, okay? All right, let's start. Have you ever claimed to be a U.S. citizen in writing, orally, in any way? Yes or no?
No.
Have you ever registered to vote in any federal, state, or local elections in the United States?
No.
Have you ever voted in any federal, state, or local election in the United States?
No.
Do you now have, or have you ever had, a title of heredity or a title of nobility in any foreign country?
No.
Have you ever been declared legally incompetent or been confined to a mental institution?
No.
Do you owe any overdue federal taxes?
No.
Have you ever not filed a federal, state, or local tax return since you became a permanent resident?
No.
Most applicants get confused with the awkward wording of these questions. Have you ever not filed your tax return? And you're supposed to answer no. So don't be surprised if the officer simply asks you, for example, since you became a lawful permanent resident, have you been filing your tax returns every year? That makes it a lot simpler. Have you ever called yourself a non-U.S. resident on a federal, state, or local tax return since you became a permanent resident?
No.
Have you belonged or do you currently belong to any organizations, funds, foundations, parties, clubs, societies, or similar group in the United States or any other country of the world?
No.
Have you ever been a member or in any way associated with the Communist Party?
No.
Any other totalitarian party?
No.
A terrorist organization?
No.
Have you ever advocated to overthrow the government of the United States? Have you ever advocated the overthrow of any government whatsoever by force or violence?
No.
Have you ever persecuted any person because of race, religion, national origin, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion?
No.
I'm going to skip the Nazi question since you were not born during the Nazi period. Most officers will skip the Nazi questions and they'll let you know that they're skipping them. However, my experience has been that if it's an officer in training, then the officer will ask those questions and that's just perfectly fine. Just go ahead and answer them. Have you ever been involved in any way with any of the following? Genocide.
No.
You know what genocide means?
Killing people.
Yes.
A lot of people.
Okay. Torture.
No.
Killing or trying to kill someone.
No.
Badly hurting or trying to hurt a person on purpose.
No.
Forcing or trying to force someone to have any kind of sexual contact or relationships against their will.
No.
Not letting someone practice his or her religion.
No.
This particular applicant has a great advantage over you, and that's because she has actually helped us prepare many clients for their own naturalization exams. And you can see it in the way that she answers yes or no. She does not mumble, No, she answers clearly yes or no, and that's what I need you to do also. Yes or no. It's a lot easier for the officer. Have you ever been a member or served in a military unit?
No.
Paramilitary unit?
No.
A police unit?
No.
Self-defense unit?
No.
Vigilante unit?
No.
Rebel group?
No.
Guerrilla group?
No.
Militia?
No.
Insurgent organization?
No.
Okay. Were you ever a worker or volunteer or soldier or otherwise ever serving any of the following? Prison or jail?
No.
Prison camp?
No.
Detention facility?
No.
Labor camp?
No.
Any other place where people were forced to stay?
No.
Were you ever part of any group or did you ever help any group, unit, or organization that used a weapon against any person or threatened to do so?
No.
Did you ever sell, give, or provide weapons to any person to help another person sell, give, or provide weapons to any other person?
No.
Have you ever received any type of military or paramilitary training?
No.
Did you ever recruit or enlist or conscript any person under 15 years of age to serve in any type of military group?
No.
Did you ever use any person under 15 years of age to do anything that helped or supported people in combat?
No.
Have you ever committed, assisted in committing, attempted to commit a crime or offense for which you were not arrested?
No.
Have you ever been arrested, cited, or detained by any law enforcement agency, including U.S. immigration authorities?
I was cited 2 times. One for passing a red light and another one for a U-turn.
Okay, yeah, you didn't write this one here. Okay, so the red light, when was that? It never fails that after we prepared them for so long and we've asked this question so many times, on the day of the interview, the client will go and reveal traffic citations that I was unaware of. And that's not good. That's not good because if you read the form instructions carefully, you'll see that in certain situations you are going to have to provide court disposition documentation for certain traffic offenses, okay? So please be careful with this.
It was February 2010.
February 2010. In what city?
Dallas.
And do you have to pay a fine?
Yes.
How much?
$325.
Okay, and you said you had another citation. What was it for?
It was an illegal U-turn.
When was that?
It was August 2014.
In what city?
Garland.
And how did you dispose of that citation?
I paid a fine too.
Of how much?
$175.
175. Okay, good. Since these fines were less than $500, I'm not going to ask you to bring anything to show me that you paid the fines. I'll just take your word, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Okay, where did I left off? Okay. Have you ever been charged with committing, attempting to commit, assisting in committing a crime or offense?
No.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime or offense?
No.
Have you ever been placed in alternative sentencing or a rehabilitative program, for example, deferred adjudication or the like?
No.
Have you ever received a suspended sentence or been placed on probation or been paroled?
No.
Do you know the difference between probation and parole?
No, but I haven't been sentenced to anything.
Okay, probation is where you get told, to meet certain conditions and behave in a certain way, and before incarceration. And parole is after you have been incarcerated, you get released early. That's a parole. Okay. Try to avoid a situation like this where the officer has to explain the meaning of these terms during the interview. Do your homework beforehand. In my opinion, most of these questions are unfair because they're asking non-lawyers to reach legal conclusions, and that's unfair. But anyways, it's there, so do your homework for the interview and try to learn the difference between probation and parole, and maybe deportation proceedings, removal proceedings, rescission proceedings, or exclusion proceedings. Do your homework. All right. Have you ever been in jail or prison?
No.
Okay. Have you ever had a problem with alcohol?
No.
Been a prostitute or procured anyone for prostitution?
No.
Sold or smuggled controlled substances, illegal drugs, or narcotics?
No.
Been married to more than one person at the same time?
No.
Married someone in order to obtain an immigration benefit?
No.
Helped anyone to enter or try to enter the United States illegally?
No.
Gambled illegally or received income from illegal gambling?
No.
Failed to support your dependents or to pay alimony?
No.
Made any misrepresentation whatsoever in order to obtain a public benefit into the United States?
No.
Okay. Have you ever given any U.S. government official any information or document that was false, fraudulent, or misleading?
No.
Have you ever lied to a U.S. government official to gain entry or admission into the United States or in order to gain any type of immigration benefits from the United States?
No.
Have you ever been removed, excluded, or deported from the United States?
No.
Have you ever been ordered, removed, excluded, or deported from the United States?
No.
Have you ever been placed in removal, exclusion, rescission, or deportation proceedings?
No.
Are removal, exclusion, rescission, or deportation proceedings currently pending against you?
No.
Have you ever served in the U.S. Armed Forces?
No.
Okay, we'll skip the next question. And you have never served in the U.S. Armed Forces, so we'll bypass all of these questions. You're a female, so you were not required to register for the draft, so we don't have to ask you that question. And have you ever applied for any kind of exemption from military service in the United States Armed Forces?
No.
Do you support the Constitution and form of government of the United States?
Yes, I do.
Do you understand the full oath of allegiance to the United States?
Yes, I do.
Are you willing to take the full oath of allegiance to the United States?
Yes.
Some religious denominations are not allowed to take oaths or to swear, and if that's your situation, then just let the officer know so that the officer can accommodate you. It's really no big deal whatsoever. It's okay. The officer will just change the wording to accommodate you. If the law requires it, are you willing to bear arms on behalf of the United States?
Yes.
If the law requires it, are you willing to perform non-combatant services in the U.S. Armed Forces?
Yes.
If the law requires it, are you willing to perform work of national importance under civilian direction?
Yes.
Okay. And is this your signature?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I see. Pineda Law Firm did it for you. They do good work, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see.
Let them know.
Okay, thank you. And okay, so now I'm gonna have you sign over here, please. Okay. And also, is this the name that you would like to appear on your certificate of naturalization?
Yes.
Okay, could you initial right here, please? Just so that you don't get surprised, most, if not all, USCIS offices are now using iPads to gather these last best of signatures and to confirm your name as it will appear on the certificate of naturalization. Just don't be surprised if they do that. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, so you did fine today. However, can I give you a decision? I will recommend you for naturalization, but my supervisor is going to have the last word, of course. If we do approve you, you're going to be receiving the oath ceremony in the mail within a couple of weeks or so. And since you will be getting, you'll be changing your name, your oath ceremony is going to be in a federal courthouse. So it's going to take a little bit longer to get there, okay? Maybe expect the ceremony in about 6 weeks to 8 weeks. If you're really lucky and you did not request a name change, then it's possible that you may be sworn in that very same day if the interview was done early enough in the day, or at least that the officer will hand you right then and there your appointment for the next oath ceremony. And I believe that that's it for today. Do you have any questions whatsoever?
No.
Okay, that's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And that's it for today. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any suggestions, just place them by the comments. This is Jose Pineda, and you are?
Valeska.
Awesome. We thank you for watching this video. Take care and have a great day.